Maya Chen's salvage scanner chirped its familiar tone as her ship, the Lucky Break, drifted through the asteroid belt's outer reaches. After 15 years of scrapping derelict ships and abandoned mining stations, she learned to trust her instincts. This signal was different. "Computer analysis," she asked, adjusting her pilot's chair to get a better view through the reinforced viewport. "Unknown alloy composition detected. Mass approximately 300,000 metric tons. Configuration suggests artificial construction." Maya smiled. The bigger they were, the better the payday. She guided her ship closer, its maneuvering thrusters leaving brief puffs of vapor in the vacuum. The target slowly came into view, and her smile faded into open-mouthed wonder. The vessel before her defied every principle of human spacecraft design. Instead of the utilitarian blocks and cylinders she was used to, this ship was elegant, almost organic in its construction. Its hull rippled with patterns that reminded her of flowing water, frozen in time. Most surprisingly, it showed no signs of impact damage despite its location in the asteroid belt. "Computer, any match in the database?" "Negative. Design does not conform to any known human or recovered alien vessel specifications." Maya's heart raced. First discovery rights could set her up for life, assuming the Earth Defense Force didn't confiscate everything. She needed to document her claim before anyone else stumbled upon this find. The docking procedure took nearly 3 hours. The unknown vessel had no standard airlocks, but Maya had long since modified her ship with universal docking equipment. As the airlock cycled, she double-checked her environment suit's seals. 15 years of salvage work had taught her that carelessness in space was a quick way to die. The ship's interior was even stranger than its exterior. The corridors seemed to shift and flow, creating an unsettling sensation of movement, even though everything was perfectly still. Her suit's lights revealed surfaces that absorbed and reflected light in impossible ways, making depth perception difficult. "This is salvage operator Maya Chen, recording preliminary survey of unknown vessel." She spoke into her suit's recorder. "Time is 9:30 Earth Standard. No signs of damage or forced entry. Interior atmosphere reading as." She checked her instruments. "Present and surprisingly Earth normal. That can't be right." She continued deeper into the vessel, her experienced eye noting the complete absence of rust or degradation. Whatever this ship was made of, it laughed at the concept of entropy. The corridors led her to what she assumed was a control center, though it bore little resemblance to any bridge she'd ever seen. In the center of the room stood a pillar of what looked like liquid metal, frozen in mid-flow. As Maya approached, her suit's sensors went crazy, registering energy patterns that shouldn't be possible in a derelict vessel. "Hello, Maya Chen," a voice spoke, seemingly from everywhere at once. The liquid metal pillar pulsed with soft light in time with the words. Maya's training kicked in. She activated her suit's emergency beacon and drew her plasma cutter, though something told her it would be useless against whatever she was dealing with. "I am the custodian," the voice continued. "I have waited 247,000 of your years for a suitable candidate to arrive. You are the first to pass the initial criteria." "Criteria?" Maya managed to ask, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "What criteria?" "Intelligence, curiosity. Most importantly, the capacity for growth. Your species has developed remarkably quickly, especially considering your isolation." Maya lowered her plasma cutter slightly. "Our isolation? You mean there are others out there?" "Many others. Some who would help you. Some who would destroy you. My creators foresaw this moment, though they did not survive to witness it. They left me here, waiting for a species worthy of their legacy." The pillar's light intensified, and holographic displays materialized around Maya, showing star maps she didn't recognize and technology she couldn't comprehend. "My creators called themselves the Precursors. They seeded this galaxy with the potential for life, hoping that eventually someone would be ready to carry on their work. Humanity has shown that potential." Maya's mind raced with the implications. Why me? Why not approach our governments or scientific institutions? The custodian's light pulsed in what Maya somehow knew was amusement. Governments change. Institutions become rigid. But individuals can adapt, can make choices that reshape worlds. You have spent your life exploring the unknown, salvaging the forgotten. Who better to help humanity salvage its destiny? Before Maya could respond, the ship's sensors came to life. Warning, the custodian announced, its tone shifting. Multiple vessels approaching at FTL speeds. Configuration matches known hostile species. It seems our time for discussion has been cut short. Maya Chen, I must ask you to make a choice that will affect not just your future, but humanity's. The holographic displays showed a dozen ships decelerating from faster-than-light travel, their designs aggressive and predatory. What choice? Maya asked, though she already knew the answer would change everything. Accept your role as this vessel's captain, or leave now and let humanity face what comes alone. Choose quickly. We have minutes before they arrive. Maya looked at the approaching ships, then at the incredible technology surrounding her. She thought of Earth, vulnerable and unaware of what was coming. She thought of all the stories she'd read as a child about humanity reaching for the stars. I accept, she said firmly. The liquid metal pillar flowed outward, surrounding her in a cocoon of light. Knowledge flooded her mind. Star charts, weapon systems, faster-than-light theory. As the hostile ships drew closer, Maya Chen, former salvage operator, felt the power of a precursor warship come alive under her command. Well then, she said, a smile spreading across her face, let's show them what humanity can do. Knowledge coursed through Maya's mind like a digital flood as the precursor ship's systems integrated with her consciousness. Star maps, weapon schematics, and centuries of historical data threatened to overwhelm her, but her salvager's instincts kicked in. Just like stripping a derelict ship, she focused on what she needed right now: weapons and defense systems. Custodian, what are we up against? Maya asked, her fingers dancing across control surfaces that responded to her thoughts as much as her touch. The approaching vessels belonged to the Nexari Dominion, the AI responded. A species that believes technological advancement should be restricted to worthy races. They have destroyed 17 emerging civilizations in the last millennium alone. The holographic displays showed the Nexari ships in detail. Their vessels resembled predatory sea creatures, all sharp angles and weapon ports. And they're here because they detected my reactivation. The precursors were their ancient enemies. Finding one of our vessels in the hands of a primitive species would be considered an intolerable offense. Maya's lips tightened into a thin line. She dealt with claimed jumpers and pirates in her salvage days. These Nexari didn't sound so different. Just bullies with bigger guns. How many minutes until they're in weapons range? 4 minutes, 17 seconds. However, I should warn you. My combat systems are currently at 31% efficiency. Full restoration will require time we do not have. Maya grinned. Good thing I'm a salvage expert then. Show me what's broken, and let's get creative. The ship's schematics appeared before her. Most of the weapon systems were in standby mode, their power cores dormant after millennia of disuse. But Maya noticed something interesting. The power distribution network was intact. Can we reroute power from non-essential systems? She asked, already formulating the plan. Affirmative, but it would only raise combat efficiency to 47%. What about the structural integrity field? How much power does that draw? The custodian's response carried a note of concern. The field maintains the ship's quantum-stabilized hull. Reducing it would make us vulnerable. But we'd have power for weapons, Maya pressed. And from what I'm seeing in these schematics, the hull itself is pretty remarkable stuff, even without the field. There was a pause. You are correct. Though it goes against my safety protocols, your suggestion has merit. Rerouting power now. The ship hummed as energy flowed through long dormant circuits. Weapon systems came online one by one, their status indicators shifting from red to amber to green. Combat efficiency now at 82%, the custodian announced. Though I must point out that this configuration is highly unorthodox. Maya smiled. Welcome to human ingenuity. Now show me what these weapons can do. The next few minutes were a crash course in precursor combat systems. The ship, which Maya learned was called the Dawn Seeker, possessed weapons that made her salvage ship's plasma cutter look like a match flame beside a fusion reactor. Nexari vessels entering weapons range, the custodian announced. They are transmitting a demand for immediate surrender. Let's respond in a language they'll understand, Maya said. Target their lead ship's propulsion systems. Warning shot only. Let's see how they react to a primitive species with precursor tech. The Dawn Seeker's main weapon array charged with a rising hum. A beam of coherent energy lanced out, neatly severing the lead Nexari ship's primary drive cluster. The effect was like watching a shark suddenly lose its tail fin. Direct hit, the custodian confirmed. Enemy fleet is scattering. This is unprecedented. Nexari doctrine typically demands aggressive response to any show of force. Maya watched the hostile ships break formation, their movements suddenly erratic. They're not running. They're repositioning for an attack run. But now they know we can hurt them. They'll be more cautious. She studied the tactical display. Can we send a message to Earth? They need to know what's coming. Communications are operational, but Earth lacks receivers capable of detecting our transmissions. Maya thought quickly. My salvage ship, the Lucky Break. It has standard Earth comm equipment. Can you interface with it? Affirmative. Establishing connection now. Maya recorded a brief message, explaining her discovery and the approaching threat. She included sensor data on the Nexari ships and a compressed packet of precursor defensive technologies. Send this to the Earth Defense Force headquarters. They'll think it's a hoax at first, but the data will speak for itself. Message sent. Nexari vessels are taking attack positions. Multiple weapon locks detected. Maya took a deep breath. The next few minutes would determine not just her fate, but potentially Earth's as well. The Nexari had to be convinced that humanity wasn't worth the cost of conquering. You know, she said, both to the custodian and herself, in salvage work, sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make the other guy think you're crazy enough to risk everything. I do not understand how this applies to our tactical situation. Maya's fingers flew across the control surfaces. Remember how I rerouted power from the structural integrity field? Let's make them think we did it because we're planning something big. Target their entire fleet with a weapons lock. All weapons, maximum power signature. But that would drain our reserves completely. The custodian protested. We would be defenseless if they called our bluff. That's why we're not bluffing. Maya's voice was steel. Sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything. Humanity learned that lesson long ago. Let's show the Nexari what we can do with the tools of their ancient enemies. The Dawn Seeker's weapons charge, its power core pushing to limits that made the custodians' safety protocols scream in protest. But as the energy readings climbed, Maya saw the Nexari fleet's formation waver. They're receiving energy readings consistent with a precursor dreadnought's main gun, the custodian reported. Their tactical computers must be confused. Good, Maya said. Let's add to that confusion. Open a channel to their flagship. The communication link opened, and Maya spoke with all the authority she could muster. This is Captain Maya Chen of the precursor vessel Dawn Seeker. You have exactly 30 seconds to retreat from this system, or we test whether your shields can handle what killed your ancestors. The response was immediate. The Nexari fleet's attack formation dissolved as ships began emergency FTL jumps. Within moments, only their flagship remained. A harsh, clicking voice responded. This is not over, human. The Dominion will not forget this insult. Good, Maya replied. Make sure you remember what one human with salvage tech could do. Imagine what billions of us can accomplish if you force us to. The flagship vanished in a flash of FTL energy, leaving Maya alone with her impossible victory. She sagged in her control chair, the adrenaline slowly fading. That, the custodian observed, was either brilliant strategy or suicidal recklessness. "Welcome to humanity," Maya laughed. "Sometimes they're the same thing." She straightened up, looking at the tactical display. "Now let's get to Earth before the Nexari come back with reinforcements." We had a lot of work to do, and not much time to do it. The Dawn Seeker's engines hummed to life, carrying humanity's first precursor captain toward home, and toward a future that had just become far more interesting than anyone had imagined. The Dawn Seeker emerged from FTL on the dark side of Luna, Earth's familiar blue marble hanging in the void ahead. Maya had insisted on this approach vector, knowing that suddenly appearing in high Earth orbit would trigger every defense satellite in range. "Multiple radar contacts," the custodian reported. "Earth Defense Force vessels are moving to intercept." "Right on schedule," Maya said, watching the swarm of small ships approaching. Her message had gotten through, but that didn't mean they'd trust her immediately. "Open a channel using standard Earth frequencies." Before she could speak, her old salvage ship's ID codes triggered an incoming transmission. "Salvage vessel Lucky Break. This is EDF command. Your emergency message has been received and authenticated. Please confirm your status." Maya smiled at the familiar voice of Admiral Chen. No relation, though she dealt with him often enough during her salvage career. "Admiral, this is Maya Chen. I'm no longer aboard the Lucky Break. Request permission to approach Earth orbit with my new acquisition." There was a long pause. "Maya, our sensors are reading your vessel as larger than an aircraft carrier, with energy signatures we've never seen before. Care to explain?" "Sir, remember that artifact recovery protocol you made me memorize 5 years ago? The one for hypothetical first contact situations." Maya watched the EDF ships holding position around her. "We're going to need to implement that, and probably write some new ones." Another pause. "You have clearance to approach Orbital Station Alpha. 2 escort ships will guide you in. Any unexpected course changes will be treated as hostile action." Chen out. The Dawn Seeker followed its escorts sedately, its massive form dwarfing the EDF vessels. Maya used the time to organize the vast amount of information flooding her mind from the ship's databases. The custodian had been teaching her about the precursors, and their story was both inspiring and cautionary. "They were like us in many ways," the custodian explained as they approached the station. "Curious, innovative, sometimes reckless. They arose on a world much like Earth, developed faster than light travel, and found a galaxy teeming with life." "And the Nexari?" Maya asked, watching the orbital station grow larger in her view. The Nexari were one of many species the precursors uplifted, sharing technology and knowledge. But while others used these gifts to grow, the Nexari became convinced that they alone were worthy of advancement. They turned on their benefactors, starting a war that lasted centuries. Maya frowned, but the precursors were more advanced. How could they lose? They didn't, not exactly. They developed weapons that could have destroyed the Nexari completely, but they refused to commit genocide, even to save themselves. Instead, they scattered their ships and technology across the galaxy, leaving guardians like me to find worthy successors. They believed that eventually, a species would arise that could balance power with wisdom. And you think that's us? Humans? Maya shook her head. We're not exactly known for our wisdom, but you are known for learning from your mistakes. The precursors saw potential in your kind, your adaptability, your creativity, and most importantly, your capacity for growth. The docking procedure with Orbital Station Alpha was delicate, but the Dawn Seeker's systems compensated automatically for the size difference. Maya felt the gentle shudder of contact as the docking tubes extended. "Picking up multiple armed teams approaching the airlock," the custodian warned. "Expected," Maya replied. "Can you create a data package?" something to convince them quickly that we're on the level, already prepared. Though I should warn you, there are certain technologies I cannot share immediately. The precursors were adamant about gradual technological integration. Maya nodded, standing from her control chair. Smart. Give people too much too fast, and they'll probably blow themselves up with it. She straightened her salvage suit, now interfaced with precursor tech. Let's go make history. The meeting room on Alpha Station was crowded with Earth's highest-ranking military and scientific leaders, all staring at Maya with expressions ranging from skepticism to awe. She'd just finished presenting the custodian's data package, including footage of the encounter with the Nexari fleet. Admiral Chen spoke first. Let me get this straight. You found a super-advanced alien ship, bonded with its AI, fought off hostile aliens, and now you're telling us Earth needs to prepare for possible invasion. That's the short version, Maya agreed. The longer version is that humanity has just inherited the legacy of a species that shaped the galaxy. The Nexari won't be the only ones coming to challenge our claim to it. A scientist Maya didn't recognize raised her hand. These precursor technologies, they're centuries beyond our current understanding. How can we possibly hope to integrate them safely? The same way humanity has always handled new technologies, Maya replied, carefully, methodically, and with a healthy respect for Murphy's Law. The custodian has educational programs designed specifically for technological uplift. We can start with defensive systems, medical technology, and clean energy production. And weapons? A general asked pointedly. Maya met his gaze steadily. Those too, but not first. The precursors learned the hard way that giving weapons before wisdom tends to end badly. Admiral Chen leaned forward. Maya, you're asking us to trust a lot on faith here. How do we know this custodian AI isn't manipulating us for its own ends? Because it could have chosen any spacefaring race, Maya replied. Instead, it waited for humanity. Not because we're perfect, we're far from it, but because we have something the precursors valued. The ability to learn, to grow, to face our mistakes, and try to do better. She stood, activating a holographic display that filled the room with stars. The galaxy out there is full of wonders and dangers. The precursors left us their legacy, not because we're ready for it, but because they believed we could be. They're giving us a chance to become something greater than we are. The room was silent for a long moment, the implications of her words sinking in. Finally, Admiral Chen spoke. What do you suggest we do first? Maya smiled. First, we prepare. The Nexari will be back, and they'll bring friends. But we have advantages they don't expect. Human ingenuity, precursor technology, and most importantly, the element of surprise. They think they know what humanity is capable of. Let's show them how wrong they are. The meeting continued late into the night, as humanity's leaders began the monumental task of preparing Earth for its new role in the galaxy. But Maya's thoughts were already on the challenges ahead. The Dawn Seeker had chosen her for a reason, and she had a feeling her days as a simple salvage operator were far behind her. The real question was, how would humanity handle its sudden leap onto the galactic stage? The answer, she suspected, would determine not just Earth's fate, but the legacy of the precursors themselves. 3 months after Maya's return to Earth, humanity's transformation was already stunning. The orbital shipyards around Luna buzzed with activity as engineers integrated precursor technology into Earth's defensive grid. The Dawn Seeker had become a floating university, with scientists and military personnel rotating through to learn from the custodian's vast knowledge base. Maya stood in the Dawn Seeker's observation deck, watching a test of the new hybrid defense satellites. Earth's traditional tungsten carbide armor had been enhanced with precursor quantum-stabilized materials, while their conventional weapons were augmented with scaled-down versions of the Dawn Seeker's energy arrays. The integration rate is remarkable. The custodian noted, most species take years to adapt to even basic precursor technologies. Humanity has managed it in months. Necessity is a hell of a motivator, Maya replied. How long until the Nexari return? Based on known Nexari response patterns and the location of their nearest major fleet base, I estimate we have less than 48 hours. Maya nodded grimly. Their spies, automated probes based on precursor designs, had detected a massive Nexari battle fleet assembling. This time, they weren't taking any chances. Status of Project Porcupine. The custodian displayed a holographic overview of Earth's new defensive network. The automated defense platforms are at 89% effectiveness. The planetary shield grid is operational but untested at full power. Ground-based counterattack systems are ready. Maya smiled at the project's nickname. Trust humans to look at their own wildlife for defensive inspiration. Like a porcupine's quills, Earth's new defenses were designed to make any attack extremely painful for the aggressor. Her comm unit chimed. Captain Chen, we're detecting multiple FTL signatures at the edge of the solar system, Admiral Chen reported. Much bigger than last time. How many? 217 vessels, ranging from cruiser to dreadnought class. They're not trying to hide. Maya straightened. They want to make a statement. Show everyone what happens to primitive species that get ideas above their station. She pulled up the tactical display. Status of the defense fleet. All ships in position. The new hybrid vessels are ready for their trial by fire. The past 3 months had seen the launch of humanity's first true space fleet. 30 ships built around cores of precursor technology, but distinctly human in their design and operation. They weren't as advanced as pure precursor vessels, but they had something possibly more valuable: unpredictability. All ships, battle stations, Maya ordered. Remember your training. Don't try to match them head-on. Use what makes us human. The Nexari fleet emerged from FTL in perfect formation, their ships arranged in an attack pattern that had probably been unchanged for centuries. Their confidence was obvious. They'd crushed dozens of young civilizations this way. They're broadcasting, the custodian announced. The messages, interesting. A harsh voice filled the command deck. Attention, human vermin. Your theft of sacred technology will not go unpunished. Surrender the precursor vessel and accept your extermination, or we will take it from your burning world's ashes. Maya opened a channel to respond. This is Captain Maya Chen of Earth Defense Forces. We were hoping you'd come back. We've learned a lot since our last meeting. She nodded to her tactical officer. Across the solar system, humanity's trap was sprung. The automated defense platforms, hidden among the asteroid belt, activated their gravity pulse generators. The Nexari fleet's perfect formation was suddenly disrupted as local spacetime fluctuated unpredictably. First lesson, Maya continued, never assume your enemy will fight the way you expect. Earth's defense fleet emerged from hiding, but not as a single unit. Instead, they attacked in small, coordinated teams, targeting the now scattered Nexari ships with devastating hit-and-run attacks. The hybrid vessel's human-designed combat systems proved impossible for Nexari tactical computers to predict. Second lesson, adaptation beats tradition. The Nexari fleet tried to regroup, to form their standard attack patterns, but Earth's defenders refused to play by their rules. Smaller ships darted between asteroids, using mining charges modified with precursor tech to create chaos in the enemy formation. Larger vessels launched salvos of missiles that split into swarms of autonomous drone fighters, overwhelming Nexari point defenses with sheer numbers. Third lesson, sometimes the old ways work best. The Nexari flagship, a massive dreadnought, pushed through the chaos toward Earth. Its weapons could level continents, but Maya had been counting on their pride driving them to such a direct approach. Now, she ordered. The planetary shield grid activated, but not as a simple barrier. Instead, it pulsed in a complex pattern based on old Native American hunting techniques, herding the Nexari ships into prepared killing zones. The defense platforms' concentrated fire tore through their shields, while Earth's hybrid fleet struck from multiple angles. The battle raged for hours, but its outcome was never really in doubt. Humanity had spent 3 months preparing for exactly this scenario, while the Nexari had spent centuries believing they were invincible. When the last Nexari ship flowed into FTL, leaving their burning flagship behind, Maya opened a channel to the crippled dreadnought. Final lesson: never underestimate humanity's ability to turn your strengths into weaknesses. Now shall we discuss terms of surrender? The response was silence, followed by a massive energy spike as the Nexari commander chose self-destruction over the shame of capture. Maya watched the explosion fade, her expression grim. Casualties? She asked. 12 ships lost, 38 damaged. Civilian casualties minimal thanks to the planetary shields. The Nexari lost nearly 60% of their fleet. Maya nodded slowly. Send word to the Council. The Nexari will be back, but not alone. They'll call on their allies, try to paint us as a threat to galactic stability. She smiled suddenly, which means it's time for Phase 2. Phase 2? The custodian inquired. If they're going to call us a threat anyway, let's give them a reason. Send the signal to our deep space probes. It's time to find out what other precursor ships are hiding out there. Maya's eyes gleamed with determination. The Nexari wanted to keep humanity confined to our solar system. Instead, they just gave us a reason to expand into the stars. As cleanup operations began around her, Maya Chen, former salvage operator turned defender of Earth, began planning humanity's next steps into a galaxy that was about to learn a valuable lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous species are the ones you try to keep down. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Maya stood on the bridge of the Dawn Seeker, watching a historic moment unfold. Before her, a massive hyperspace gate, humanity's first, neared completion. Built from a combination of precursor designs and human innovation, it would connect Earth to the wider galaxy in ways her species had only dreamed of. But more importantly, it would prove her gamble had paid off. Multiple contacts emerging from FTL, the custodian announced. Signatures match. Yes, they're here. Maya smiled as ships appeared in formation around the gate construction site. Not Nexari vessels this time, but representatives from a dozen different species. Some were former victims of Nexari aggression. Others were longtime rivals. All had responded to humanity's bold message. The galaxy is changing. Let's talk about how we change it together. Open a channel to all vessels, Maya ordered, and show me the feed from New Alexandria. A holographic display showed the massive space station that had been her pet project for the past 3 months. Built into a captured Nexari dreadnought, New Alexandria was humanity's answer to centuries of enforced ignorance. Within its halls, representatives from 40 different species were already sharing knowledge, technology, and culture in direct defiance of Nexari doctrine. This is Captain Maya Chen of Earth, she began, her voice carrying to ships crewed by beings whose ancestors had been crossing the stars when humans were still figuring out agriculture. Welcome to the first meeting of the Free Technology Exchange. She gestured, and holographic displays appeared on every ship, showing the hyperspace gate's unique design. What you're looking at isn't just precursor technology or human technology. It's both, and neither. It's something new, born from the belief that progress shouldn't be restricted by arbitrary rules or ancient prejudices. The custodian's presence hummed beside her. They're scanning the gate. Several species are expressing surprise at its efficiency ratings. Maya grinned. The gate's hybrid design was 30% more efficient than pure precursor models, thanks to some very human improvements. It turned out that fresh eyes and different perspectives could find solutions that even the precursors had missed. The Nexari told us that advanced technology should be restricted to worthy species, she continued. They tried to enforce that belief through violence and intimidation. But they forgot something crucial. Ideas can't be killed. Knowledge wants to be free. And species who work together grow stronger than those who stand alone. A new hologram appeared, showing the locations of other precursor vessels that Earth's deep space probes had discovered. These ships, like the Dawnseeker, were left by the precursors not as weapons or prizes, but as seeds. Each one contains different knowledge, different technologies, different pieces of a puzzle that no single species was meant to solve alone. She paused, letting that sink in. The precursors didn't fail in their war against the Nexeri. They chose a different path. They scattered their legacy across the galaxy, knowing that eventually species would arise who could look past their differences and work together. They believed that diversity, of thought, of biology, of perspective, was the key to true advancement. Signals of agreement began flowing in from the assembled ships. Many of these species had chafed under Nexeri restrictions for centuries. The idea of free exchange of knowledge was revolutionary, dangerous, and absolutely irresistible. Of course, Maya added with a slight smile, the Nexeri won't take this lying down. They're gathering their allies, building their fleets. They'll try to stop us, to maintain their control over technological advancement. In fact, she checked the tactical display. They should be arriving right about now. Right on cue, a massive Nexeri battle fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the system. Nearly 1,000 ships strong, it was the largest offensive force they had ever assembled. Their message was predictably dramatic. This abomination ends now. Surrender or be destroyed. Maya's smile widened. Interesting choice of words, because ending abominations is exactly what we had in mind. She nodded to her tactical officer. Show them what happens when species work together. The hyperspace gate, which the Nexeri had assumed was still under construction, suddenly powered up. Its hybrid systems, more advanced than anything they had expected, created a stable wormhole large enough for a small moon to pass through. And from that wormhole emerged humanity's surprise. A combined fleet of ships from 24 species, each vessel incorporating shared technology and innovations from multiple cultures. You see, Maya continued, her voice carrying to every ship in the system. While you were gathering your forces, we were gathering something more powerful. Allies. Species who believe that the future belongs to those who share knowledge, not hoard it. Who understand that true strength comes from unity, not domination. The Nexeri fleet's perfect formation wavered as their sensors registered the technological level of the combined fleet. Each ship was a unique blend of multiple species innovations, creating vessels that defied traditional tactical analysis. This is your only warning, Maya declared. The age of restricted technology is over. You can adapt to the new reality, or you can face the consequences of standing against the combined will of multiple civilizations. Choose carefully. For a tense moment, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Then, slowly, individual ships began breaking formation. Not many at first, but enough. Ships crewed by younger Nexeri, ones who had questioned their society's restrictions. Ships commanded by those who had seen the writing on the wall. The Nexeri fleet commander's response was predictably stubborn. Death before dishonor. Why do they always say that? Maya sighed. All ships, defensive formation. Let's show them what cooperative development can achieve. What followed wasn't really a battle. It was a demonstration. The combined fleet moved with impossible coordination, their hybrid technologies complementing each other in ways the Nexeri had never imagined. Weapons developed by one species were enhanced by defensive systems from another, creating synergies that overwhelmed traditional tactical doctrines. When the Nexeri fleet finally retreated, leaving behind hundreds of captured or destroyed vessels, Maya opened a channel to all ships one final time. The galaxy is entering a new age. The precursors believe that true advancement comes not from hoarding knowledge, but from sharing it. Not from enforcing uniformity, but from celebrating diversity. They were right. She looked out at the hyperspace gate, its stable wormhole a promise of connections yet to come. Humanity may be young among the stars, but we understand something fundamental. The universe is too vast, too wonderful, too full of possibilities to be restricted by anyone's idea of who is worthy. Knowledge belongs to those willing to learn. Technology belongs to those willing to innovate. and the future belongs to those willing to share it. The Dawn Seeker's sensors registered ships from even more species emerging from FTL, drawn by news of what was happening. The free technology exchange was just the beginning. Humanity had not only found its place among the stars, it had helped forge a new way forward for all species. Maya Chen, former salvage operator, smiled as she watched history unfold before her. The precursors had been right away for humanity. Not because humans were perfect, but because they understood something crucial. The greatest adventures, the biggest challenges, and the most amazing discoveries are always better when shared. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly the point.